We humans are naturally born with some behavioral biases, which are these automatic processes inside of our brain that are programmed within us just because of evolution. That in the context of evolution, they are very useful because it means that there are shortcuts in our way of thinking so we can act quicker. And in cases of life and death, that is very important. But especially nowadays where there is less danger around us, these behavioral biases just mean that we act in different ways to what we may do if we just stopped to think about situations for a minute. Now, in this video, we're going to explore 3 of these biases and how big tech is taking advantage of them to sell us more stuff. So the first of these biases is anchoring bias. And anchoring bias is this shortcut in which we associate the very first quality or number or price that we encounter for a new thing as the default quality or fair price for that thing, regardless of how close to the actual fair price or even the average price or average quality may be. So you can see Apple taking advantage of this anchoring bias if you were to, for example, start browsing for a new iPad on their app or on their website. What you will see is that the first iPad that they show you is the iPad Pro, the most expensive version. So when you see its price, 1,400 Australian dollars or whatever it is in other countries, that becomes your anchor. Whatever number above that price is going to feel expensive, but crucially, and that is what Apple is using, whatever price below that is going to feel cheap. So lo and behold, right next to the iPad Pro is the normal iPad, which is almost half the price, $749. So because now you had this anchor or $1,400, suddenly $749 feels so cheap that you want to go ahead and buy that iPad because you may as well. It is super cheap. Regardless, again, of how much money $700 is actually to you or how close to the average tablet price in the market that iPad may be. It may be the case that it is actually quite expensive. It may be the case that $749 is a lot for you, but it doesn't matter because Apple already used the anchoring bias to make you feel like that price is quite cheap because your anchor is much higher. Now, the second bias that I want to talk about is the bandwagon effect, which is also commonly referred to as the herd mentality. And this, I believe, is one of the easiest biases to explain from the evolutionary standpoint. Because you can imagine our ancestors being part of a herd, wanting to be part of the herd, because that brings protection, that brings social ties and things like that, which are very good for they to survive, for they to find new mates and reproduce and not be eaten by tigers and things like that. So, of course, if there was one person who wasn't following the bandwagon effect, didn't have the herd mentality, and suddenly went against things that the herd was doing or saying or thinking, they may be expelled outside of the herd, which exposes them to the elements, they become easier prey, and they stop evolving. So we evolved with this bandwagon effect. YouTube and social media use this everywhere. You can see on YouTube, on X, on Instagram that it is very easy to see how many views or how many likes or how many comments there are on a particular piece of content. So this is a screenshot from YouTube. You can see that it is very easy for us to see how many views it has. And YouTube and other social platforms are using this to tap into our herd mentality. If so many people have already watched this, it must be good. Because we want to do what the herd is doing, we want to watch those videos. And this effect is more noticeable when perhaps we are searching for a specific topic and we see 2 or 3 different videos. Among those videos, one may have 1 million views, one may have 100,000 views, and the other one may have 1,000 views. Which one would you choose? Most likely you would choose the one with 1 million views, which by the way makes me thank you for watching this video because this probably has a rather small one because right now my channel is small. So of course, and either that is because of the algorithm or thanks to the algorithm, but these videos are the ones that are mostly displayed by YouTube because YouTube knows they have done well, but also because now we want to watch them because they have so many views and we want to follow the herd. that YouTube just keeps on showing them, so we see them even more because of that, and the herd mentality grows and grows, and something similar you may be able to find in other social media. Now, the final bias that I want to talk about is regret aversion, which is this bias, an automatic fear that we may have that the decision that we are making may turn out to be the wrong one in the future. I want to show you the case of my HBO Max subscription, or Max subscription, however it's called these days, because I got my subscription when it was first launched in Latin America. It means that I was promised that I will only pay 89.5 Mexican pesos, which is about 9 Australian dollars, 7 US dollars a month, something like that, for life, as long as I don't cancel my subscription. So maybe you see where HBO is tapping into my regret aversion. Now, I am averse against regretting canceling my plan, because if I ever do want HBO Max in the future, I will have to pay the new price, which is currently 200 Mexican pesos a month, about 20 Australian, 17, 16 US a month, which is a big difference. I'm currently getting more than 50% discount. The problem is I'm not even using HBO Max. I rarely use it, so that means that I am continuously paying for a service that I am not using. I bet that if I were to do the maths, it would turn out that it is cheaper for me to just pay the 200 Mexican pesos a month whenever I do use HBO Max, instead of paying just 89 pesos a month, but every single month of the year. But I don't want to lose that discount, and I don't want to regret that decision in the future. So hopefully this quick video shows you some instances in where these behavioral biases are being used by big tech. Now, big tech is just an example in this video. Of course, behavioral biases are everywhere and people know about them, marketers know about them, finance gurus know about them, so they are tapping into them to either sell us more stuff, or sometimes you're just nudges in the right direction. And by the way, there are many more behavioral biases than just these three. If you're watching this video, I would love to hear about what other instances of these biases have you encountered, whether in big tech or elsewhere, and hopefully catch you in the next one.